cop pulls you over. Before you even say hello, he leans into your window and asks, "Do you have any weapons in the vehicle?" You freeze. Your heart's pounding. You've got a legal firearm in the glove box, and now you're thinking, do I tell him? Do I stay quiet? What if I say the wrong thing and end up in handcuffs? That split second could determine whether you drive away in 5 minutes or spend the night explaining yourself to a judge. Quick question before we continue. Are you subscribed yet? Because what I am about to reveal could save you from turning a routine traffic stop into a legal nightmare that follows you for years. 87% of gun owners have no idea how to answer this question correctly, and I don't want you to be one of them. Hit that subscribe button right now, and let's make sure you're protected. Here's the thing. When a police officer asks if you have any weapons, you're standing at a legal crossroads. One path keeps you safe and respected. The other path? It can lead to your car being torn apart, your firearm being confiscated, and you sitting on the curb while the officer runs your information for the next hour. And here's what most people don't realize. Both telling the truth and staying silent can get you into trouble if you don't do it the right way. Let me break this down for you step by step, because this isn't just about knowing your rights. It's about knowing how to use your rights without turning a cop into your enemy. First thing you need to understand, police officers ask this question for officer safety. They're not trying to trick you. They're not setting a trap. When an officer walks up to your car, he has no idea if you're a law-abiding concealed carry permit holder or someone with a warrant and a gun under the seat. His job is to go home safe at the end of his shift, and that question helps him assess the situation. So before we talk about what to say, let's get one thing straight. Your attitude matters just as much as your words. Now, here's where people mess up. Some gun owners think staying completely silent is the smart move. They've heard about the Fifth Amendment, and they figure, I don't have to tell him anything. Technically, you're right in most states. But practically, that's a disaster waiting to happen. When you refuse to answer a direct question about weapons during a traffic stop, you've just made that officer very, very nervous. And a nervous cop is going to treat you like a threat. Suddenly, you're being ordered out of the vehicle. Backup's being called, your car is getting searched, all because you tried to be a constitutional scholar instead of a respectful human being. On the flip side, some people panic and start rambling. Yes, officer, I have a Glock 19 in the glove box. And there's also a knife in the center console, and my wife has pepper spray in her purse, and oh yeah, there's a baseball bat in the trunk from my son's game last week. Congratulations. You just gave the officer a reason to extend the stop, search your entire vehicle, and possibly arrest you for something completely unrelated to why he pulled you over in the first place. So, what's the right answer? Here are the exact words you should use, and I want you to memorize this because it works in every state, whether you're in Texas or California or anywhere in between. When the officer asks if you have any weapons, you look him in the eye, keep your hands visible on the steering wheel, and you say this: Officer, I'm legally armed. I have a concealed carry permit. My firearm is secured in the glove box. How would you like me to proceed? Let me tell you why this works so well. First, you're being immediately honest and transparent. You're not hiding anything. You're not playing games. You're treating the officer with respect, and that respect goes a long way. Second, you're establishing that you're not a criminal. You said legally armed and concealed carry permit. Those words tell the officer you've been background checked, you've been trained, and you're one of the good guys. Third, you told him exactly where the firearm is located. He's not wondering if it's in your waistband or under your seat. He knows it's secured, and that makes him feel safer. Fourth, and this is the most important part, you asked him how to proceed. You just handed control back to the officer, and that's exactly what he wants. Here's what happens next in most cases. The officer is going to appreciate your honesty. He might ask you to keep your hands on the wheel while he secures the firearm temporarily. He might ask for your permit. Or he might just say, okay, thank you for letting me know. Don't reach for it, and we'll be fine. Either way, you've de-escalated the situation before it even started. You've turned a potential confrontation into a professional interaction. If you're finding this helpful, imagine what you'll learn in my next video where I cover the 5 mistakes gun owners make during traffic stops that lead to arrests, even when they have done nothing wrong. Subscribe right now so you don't miss it, because one of those mistakes is so common that I'd bet half the people watching this have already made it without realizing it. Now, let's talk about what happens if you're in a state with a duty to inform law. Some states legally require you to tell an officer you're carrying a firearm as soon as he makes contact with you. States like Louisiana, North Carolina, and Ohio have these laws on the books. If you're in one of these states and you don't inform the officer immediately, you're breaking the law right from the start. Even if the officer never asks about weapons, you have to volunteer that information. But here's the part that confuses people. Even in duty to inform states, how you inform matters just as much as the fact that you informed. You don't just blurt out, "I have a gun," the second the officer walks up. That's a great way to get a gun pointed at your face. Instead, you follow the same script I just gave you. Keep your hands visible. Speak calmly. Say, "Officer, before we begin, I want to inform you that I'm legally armed. I have a concealed carry permit. My firearm is secured in the glove box. How would you like me to proceed?" See how that works? You fulfilled your legal duty to inform, but you've done it in a way that keeps everyone calm and safe. Now, quick legal note. This is educational information, not legal advice. Always consult an attorney for your specific situation, especially if you've been charged with anything or if you're dealing with a complex legal issue. Every state has different laws and every situation is different. Let me give you a hypothetical example to show you why this matters. Imagine two gun owners get pulled over on the same highway by the same police department on the same day. Both have legal firearms. Both have concealed carry permits. Gun owner number one, let's call him Mike, panics when the officer asks about weapons. Mike stammers, it depends on what you mean by weapons." The officer's radar goes up. He asks again. Mike says, "Do I have to answer that?" Now the officer is pulling Mike out of the car because Mike is acting like he's hiding something. The officer searches the vehicle, finds the legal firearm, but also finds an old prescription bottle with someone else's name on it that Mike forgot was in the console. Now, Mike's being arrested for drug possession, even though the gun was completely legal. Gun owner number two, let's call her Sarah, uses the script I just taught you. "Officer, I'm legally armed. I have a concealed carry permit. My firearm is secured in my purse on the passenger seat. How would you like me to proceed?" The officer thanks her for her honesty, asks her to keep her hands on the wheel, and retrieves the firearm himself. He runs her permit, sees everything's in order, hands the firearm back, writes her a warning for the broken taillight, and sends her on her way. Total time? 7 minutes. Same legal situation, completely different outcomes. And the only difference was how they answered that one question. But here's the crazy part. Some of you are thinking, wait, what if I don't have a concealed carry permit? What if I'm transporting my firearm legally, but I don't have a permit because my state doesn't require one? Great question, and this is where it gets interesting. If you're in a constitutional carry state, or if you're legally transporting an unloaded firearm in your trunk, you still want to be upfront with the officer. You just adjust the script slightly. You say, "Officer, I have a firearm secured in the trunk. It's unloaded and cased, and I'm transporting it legally. How would you like me to proceed?" Or if you're in a constitutional carry state, you say, "Officer, I'm legally armed. I don't have a permit because this is a constitutional carry state. My firearm is secured in the center console. How would you like me to proceed?" You're still being honest. You're still being respectful. You're still establishing that you're following the law, and you're still asking the officer how to proceed, which keeps him in control and keeps the situation calm. Here's a crazy stat. Only 9% of viewers watching right now are subscribed to this channel. That means 91% of you are at risk of missing critical updates about gun laws, self-defense cases, and legal changes that could affect your rights. Don't be in that 91%. Hit that subscribe button right now and join the community of informed, responsible gun owners who refuse to learn these lessons the hard way. Now, let's talk about the mistakes you absolutely cannot make during this interaction. Mistake number one, never ever reach for your firearm or the area where your firearm is located unless the officer specifically tells you to. I don't care if he asks to see your permit, and it is in your wallet next to your gun. You tell him where it is and ask him how he wants you to retrieve it. Let him make that call. Mistake number two, don't get defensive or argumentative. Some gun owners hear that question about weapons and immediately think their rights are being violated. They start lecturing the cop about the Second Amendment and the Fourth Amendment and how they don't consent to searches. Save it. This isn't the time or place for a constitutional debate. You can assert your rights respectfully without turning into a sovereign citizen wannabe. Mistake number three, don't lie. If the officer asks if you have weapons and you say no, and then he finds your firearm during a search, you've just committed a crime in many jurisdictions. You've lied to a police officer, and now your legal firearm has become evidence of your dishonesty. Even if the search was questionable, you've given the prosecutor ammunition to use against you. Mistake number four, don't volunteer information beyond what's asked. If the officer asks about weapons, tell him about your firearm. Don't start talking about the hunting trip you're coming back from, or the fact that you were at the range yesterday, or that you've been carrying for 10 years and never had a problem. Every extra word is a potential piece of evidence if something goes wrong. Here's what most people get wrong about these interactions. They think it's about winning. It's not. It's about surviving the encounter legally and safely. You're not trying to prove you know the law better than the cop. You're not trying to teach him a lesson about constitutional rights. You're trying to get through the traffic stop without escalating the situation, without giving him a reason to search your vehicle, and without saying something that could be used against you later. And here's the part that shocked me when I first learned it. Even if you do everything right, some officers are still going to be difficult. Some are going to disarm you even though you're legal. Some are going to run your information for 20 minutes, even though you cooperated fully. That's frustrating, and it's not fair, but it's reality. When that happens, you stay calm, you stay polite, and you comply. You don't argue on the side of the road. If your rights were violated, you deal with that later with an attorney. You don't win legal battles against cops during traffic stops. You win them in court. Let me give you one more scenario that trips people up. What if you have a passenger in the car who's also armed? Now you've got 2 firearms in the vehicle during a traffic stop. Here's how you handle it. When the officer asks about weapons, you say, "Officer, both my passenger and I are legally armed. We both have concealed carry permits. My firearm is secured in the glove box, and my passenger's firearm is secured in his holster on his right hip. How would you like us to proceed?" Notice what you just did. You gave the officer complete situational awareness. He knows there are 2 guns. He knows where both of them are. He knows you're both legal. And he knows you're both willing to follow his instructions. That's how you keep everyone safe and keep the encounter from spiraling out of control. This information could literally save you from a night in jail or worse. Subscribe now, because my next video breaks down what to do if an officer asks to search your vehicle after you have told him about your firearm. There's a right way and a wrong way to refuse a search, and the wrong way can get you arrested even if you've done nothing illegal. Hit that subscribe button so you catch it the moment it drops. Here's your bottom line. When a cop asks if you have any weapons, your answer should be immediate, honest, calm, and respectful. Use the exact script I gave you. "Officer, I'm legally armed. I have a concealed carry permit. My firearm is secured in the glove box. How would you like me to proceed?" Adjust it for your specific situation, but keep those core elements. Be honest. Establish you're legal. Tell them where the gun is. Ask how to proceed. This approach works because it balances your rights with officer safety. It keeps you out of trouble without making you a doormat. And most importantly, it gets you home safely with your firearm still in your possession and no new entries on your criminal record. Remember, the goal isn't to be right. The goal is to be smart. Save the legal arguments for court if you need them. On the side of the road, your job is to de-escalate, cooperate within reason, and protect yourself legally. That's it. And one final thing before we wrap up. This applies to traffic stops, but the same principles work if you're stopped on the street in a stop and frisk situation, or if police come to your door, or any other encounter with law enforcement. Honesty, respect, and calm communication will get you through 99% of these situations without any problems. If you found this video helpful, do me a huge favor. Hit that like button and share it with every gun owner you know. This information could keep someone you care about out of jail. And if you haven't subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? Join the 58,000 gun owners who trust this channel for straight talk legal information that actually matters. Click that subscribe button right now. Stay safe, stay legal, and I'll see you in the next video.